Hey kids, welcome back to our series. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. I can't wait to learn today's crazy story. But before we get started, I have a question for you. All right, have you ever thought there was something different about you, that you just were not as special as other people? You don't have to answer that question out loud, but if you were thinking about it, would you say that you've probably felt that way at some time or another? All right, well, today we're learning a crazy story about a young man who had something about him that made others think he wasn't very useful. He might have had those same thoughts about himself that we just talked about. We're going to find out more about that in a bit. But first, I want you to check out this video to help you understand what our lesson is all about.
Hello again, it's Josh here. My friends and I are ready to take you through another wild, wacky, incredible journey through one of the Bible's strangest stories. Today we're telling a story about a guy named Ehud.
Gesundheit.
What? He thinks you sneezed. I didn't sneeze. I said Ehud.
I think you're pronouncing it wrong.
How else would I say it?
It's pronounced Ehud.
No, it's not. It's pronounced Ehud.
Can we call him something else?
Yes, like Sebastian.
Durango. Gregory. Consuela. No, Vivian. We're not calling him Vivian. His name was Ehud, and his story is crazy. Ehud had what's called a disability. He was considered to be physically inferior to the people around him. Now, Ehud's disability was that he was left-handed.
What?
That ain't a disability. Well, back then it was. The left hand was considered to be weak and dirty.
Take that, you dirty left-hander. What, Mom?
What do you mean, dirty? Well, the right hand was used for work and for battle, and the left hand was for other stuff.
What?
So if you were born naturally left-handed, you were considered disabled. A lot of people with disabilities feel like they can't do much for God, but it's not true.
Yeah.
Ehud did something incredible, amazing, and kind of gross. I like gross. Well, what is it, boy? Spit it out! We're gonna find out today on your lesson. Enough beating around the bush. Hit the button, Professor.
Oh, not again.
I love my job.
Ehud had what some would consider a handicap. King Eglon had what some would consider a weight problem. What could God use Ehud to do in this situation? Could someone like Ehud actually be used by God? What do you guys think? That's right. God can use anyone who is willing. It doesn't matter what others think of you or even what you think of yourself. God has a plan for every single person. Everyone can be used by God. And you're going to learn more about what God did through Ehud in today's story. But right now, we need to check out with our friend Disco Dave. And he's going to teach you guys what you got to know. Bye.
What you gotta know? What you gotta know? What you gotta know?
What's happening, you crazy cats? It's me, Disco Dave, and I'm here to tell you what you gotta know. Today, we're talking about how God can use the most unlikely people. So today, every time somebody asks you what you gotta know, you tell them, I know God can use me to do big things for Him. Some people think they're not cool-a-rooney and that God can't use them. I'm not even cool-a-rooney enough to know what cool-a-rooney means. God would never use me. Hold it there, fella. Cool-a-rooney just means cool, and you are way cool. God can use anybody to do big things for Him. So today, Every time somebody asks you what you gotta know, you tell them, I know God can use me to do big things for him. That right there is what you gotta know. I'm Disco Dave saying, Dynamite!
Man, I love Disco Dave. Today we have one crazy Bible story. It's one of the craziest stories in the Bible. It takes place in the book of Judges in chapter 3. So if you want to look it up, look there. But the Israelites turned their backs on God and were doing all kinds of evil things. So God allowed a wicked king to rule over them. He was a very mean guy. The Bible says that he was really, really fat. And that's an important thing to remember. It comes in later in the story. All right, well, the Israelites realized they needed to turn back to God. So they did, and they cried out to God for help. Like, Mommy, help me! Except they said, God, help me! Like many times before, God answered them by raising up a man to rescue them. It was a man named Ehud. Now, Ehud was a very unlikely hero. The Bible says that he was left-handed, and all warriors back then were right-handed. People had the idea that left-handed people couldn't be warriors. Strange, I know, but that's what they thought. So Ehud had every reason to think that he would never be able to be a warrior for God. But God can use anybody who is willing. So the people chose Ehud to be the one to deliver their tax money to the king. Ehud strapped a dagger to his right thigh. The reason he did this is because he was left-handed. When he arrived, the king's security guards didn't think to check there because they thought any real warrior, anyone worth his might, anyone worth his strength, would be right-handed. Now Ehud brought the tax money to the king just like he was supposed to. But then he told the king, I have a secret message for you. And once the king told his guards to leave the room so Ehud could tell him the secret, Ehud pulled out his dagger with his left hand and he stabbed the king right in the belly. That's what he had to do in order to deliver the Israelites from this mean king. The king was the leader of the enemy armies. So Ehud plunged the dagger into his belly, and the king was so fat that the dagger actually completely disappeared from sight. It got stuck in his belly. Whew. Ehud escaped from the king's throne by climbing down the latrine tower, what the king would use for a bathroom. Ehud went back to the Israelites and told them that he had killed the king. Now that the fat king was dead, Ehud led the Israelite army into battle against their enemies and defeated them. And that goes to show you that anyone can be used by God if they are willing to follow and obey him. That's exactly what you are going to learn about today in your lesson. All right, but you guys need to tune into our power verse. It is a great verse.
It's the salt, a little sweet. Oh, hey boys and girls, it's me, Teriyaki, and I was just cooking up something tasty for my restaurant, Nice Rice. It's a 5-star fine dining establishment that's famous for, you guessed it, my rice. Hard to mess that up. Now today, I'm also cooking up a very special power verse. The trouble is, I'm famous for getting things mixed up. Eggs aren't the only thing I scramble. I mix up the ingredients, the names of our dishes, and even the power verse. So I'm gonna need your help unscrambling the whole thing today. So let's look at it together. Philippians can do everything through me, who gives Christ strength. For I 4:13. Yes, this is not right. Very wrong, very mixed up. Kind of reminds me of the time someone asked me for jelly beans and I gave them a bowl of grape jelly and refried beans. Oh, what a nasty mix-up. Anyway, boys and girls, I think I'm going to need your help getting this one unscrambled. Let's look at it together. Philippians can do everything. Whoa, I think Philippians is the book of the Bible. Should we move that to the side? Yep. Someone can do everything through me who gives Christ strength. That's terrible. I can't give Christ strength. He gives me strength. let's swap me and Christ and try it again. Someone can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. For I 4:13. We know Philippians is the book of the Bible, so I bet for I goes in the blank at the beginning. Yes, that's it. I think we have it. Now stand with me and say it loud on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Philippians 4:13. That's a great power verse. Now, let's make sure we really know it so when we need to remember it later, it's not all mixed up in our brains. Stand up and say it loud on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Philippians 4:13. Great job, boys and girls. Now, I've got to get back to making this beef stew. Smells like lemonade. Anyway, the customers are waiting. So until next time, this is Teriyaki saying, Crisco, Disco, let's go to Frisco.
Cool-o Rooney. What you gotta know?
Today, we have really learned something very important from the story of Ehud. He was someone who many people thought was pretty useless as a warrior, simply because he was left-handed. People made up their minds that he was useless. It's sad, but many people make decisions like that about others. They look at someone else and say things like, she's not smart enough, or he's not talented enough, she's so ugly, he's so weak. They make decisions about people's worth based on the silliest things. But guess what? Here is the good news. It doesn't matter what other people say about you. All right, people said that David was too young to fight Goliath, but he defeated that giant. People said Abraham was way too old to have a son, but he did that. People said that Saul would never become a Christian, but guess what he did? He became Paul. People said that Jesus would never arise from the dead, but guess what? Jesus rose after 3 days from the grave. People say a lot of things, and people are often wrong. Maybe you have someone at school who tells you that you are worthless. They are wrong. Maybe someone in your family is constantly telling you that you will never amount to anything. Guess what? They're wrong. It doesn't matter what other people say about you. And that's the truth, all right? But you know, for some people, it's not about what others say that holds them back. For some, it's what they think about themselves that stands in their way, all right? Sometimes they have a mirror and they think that they are worthless. They look at themselves. They don't think they have what it takes to do anything for God. But here's more good news. It doesn't matter what you think of yourself. And that's the truth. Some people have so many thoughts about themselves that just aren't true. They think they are worthless, weak, stupid, or lame. These are all thoughts that are hurtful and dangerous, and they aren't true. Ehud may have had some of those same thoughts, but if he did, he didn't give in to them. Instead, he chose to believe that God could use him to deliver the Israelites from King Eglon. Sometimes our thoughts can lie to us. Instead of paying attention to what others say, or even what we think, we should always remember it doesn't matter what others say about you or what you think about yourself. What matters is what God knows about you, right? God knows all about you. He created you. He knows you. He knows what he has planned for you. All right? He counted the hairs on your head. He knows that. The Bible says in 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7, the Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. God sees how amazing you are. It's time to believe that God can use you to do big things for him. Don't look at yourself through your own eyes. Instead, look at yourself through God's eyes. Look at the way he looks at you. See yourself as a masterpiece designed by God, paid by the life of his son, Jesus Christ, and loved more than anything else in this world. You are special to God, and He has a plan for you. He wants to use you to do big things for Him. All right, thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited that you joined us for, I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. It's our 3rd week. We got another week coming next week. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day. Bye.